I want to welcome everybody here today. I'm Joe Noriel, president of the Petaluma Museum. A special welcome to all the veterans, everyone who served, friends and guests. And a special thank you to Mr. Sung-Ho Wang, Consulate General of the Republic of Korea, who contributed to this exhibit. The Korean War is often called the Forgotten War, but on this day in Petaluma it's remembered. Over 50,000 American lives were lost in Korea, but today they are not forgotten. We honor all those who served in Korea and the sacrifice you made for people you did not know. You answered the call of duty, and for that we're forever grateful. You served in the worst of conditions to uphold democracy and freedom, and know that you did not serve in vain, as witnessed by our close friend and ally we have in South Korea. It is certain without your efforts our world would be a different place, a much worse place. This is not the forgotten war, but the forgotten victory. I'd now like to introduce Calvin Jin, who performed the Korean National Anthem.
I'd
like to welcome the United States Coast Guard to present colors and recognize Elizabeth Robertson and members of the Petaluma High Choir who will sing the national anthem.
Forward. Mark. Present. God.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red there, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. Time. Color start. March. Forward. March.
I'd like to invite Paul Lewis up, and I'll introduce Vice Mayor Tiffany Renee to read the proclamation.
The mayor could not be with us today. He's out of town, and he sends his well wishes for this wonderful exhibit. The City of Petaluma Proclamation Korean War Remembrance Day for October 13th, 2012. Whereas 62 years ago, the communist invasion of the Republic of Korea summoned a generation of Americans to serve. And whereas the landings at Incheon to the Preston perimeter from Heartbreak Ridge to Chosin Reservoir, our forces fought with immeasurable courage in one of the defining moments of the Cold War. Whereas they weathered bitter winters and pushing heat, they fought on with courage and distinction. Whereas we honor the tens of thousands of Americans who gave their lives defending a country they had never known and a people they had never met. And whereas their legacy lives on not only in the hearts of the American people, but in the Republic of Korea that is free and prosperous, an alliance that is stronger than ever before, and a world that is safer for their service. And whereas the Petaluma Museum, in hosting the exhibition Korea, the Forgotten War, to pay tribute and recognize the sacrifices made by Petaluma's Korea War veterans. And whereas today the City of Petaluma recognizes all who serve in the Korean War and pays lasting tributes to the brave men and women who gave their lives for our nation. Now therefore be it resolved that I, David Glass, Mayor of Petaluma, along with the members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Saturday, October 13th, 2012 as Korea War Remembrance Day in the City of Petaluma. And with me today we have Councilmember Harris over here as well, and we're here with our great thanks and look forward to a well-remembered exhibit here in Petaluma. Thank you, Paul.
There was a time when I'd come up the steps in 2 strides. That was quite a while ago, and I think there's quite a few of my fellow veterans out there looking at those steps now and taking them like I do, one at a time. I would like to say a few things here. That I'm honored that you picked me. I'm nothing special in the Army. I was just a soldier that did my duty. And I'm humbled in receiving this proclamation in behalf of all. Oh, okay, you got it. I'm still trainable. In behalf of the Petaluma Korean veterans, I was proud to serve my country and protect our flag. In 1952, I vowed at the grave sites of 3 Petaluma High School graduates that did not come home, KIAs. Today, Bob Bauer, Joe Mendoza, George Poe, you're not forgotten. I received this today in honor of them and the other 54,000 that did not get a chance to grow old like us and own a cane. Petaluma, you have tied the yellow ribbon around the old oak tree for all of us who served in the frozen hellhole. Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to thank, so many special people who made this exhibit possible. It's a lot of work putting on these things. It's hard to believe. Solange Rosick, thank you so much for your help. She was unbelievable. A lot of what you see here is what she did. Eric Chipchase back there did some of our images. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. And I'll read off this list. Terry Park, John Praetzel, Breeze Baker, Dan Brown, Chris Wint, Brian Granados, Liz Cohey, great volunteers, Mary Rowe, our advisors and contributors, Paul Lewis, Robert Fleek, Mo Jacobson, Jerry Porter, Steve Kimmerly, of course, Petaluma High, thank you so much. John Merrill, Petaluma Community Access, City Council members, we appreciate your support so much. A special thank you to our programming, Harry Newbor, and a real special individual, great friend of the museum and of all veterans, Leon Delisle. And he's going to talk a little bit about some of the programming we've got coming up. Please check out our speakers list. Next Saturday, 3 p.m., Major General Vigi talking about the current developments in Korea. And then, of course, on October 27th, we have Korean pilot and Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell will be honored. So I'm going to turn this over to Leon to talk a bit about something we have coming up on Veterans Day. It's an unbelievably amazing symposium. So, Leon?
Thank you. You know, it's a real honor to come up here and support this museum. I live in Santa Fe in Marin County, where the attitudes are considerably different. It wasn't that way when I grew up, but it certainly is now. And so it's a real honor for me to come up here and support this with Joe and the staff and the mayor, and see the whole community step forth and support you guys after all these years. And few communities are doing that, and Petaluma has done it. So God bless them and God bless you. I would like to take a quick moment here. My interest is in aviation, and there's an old friend of mine here. He's an air warrior, and he served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And I'm sure he has a couple of words to speak for some of the old air warriors out there who flew in Korea. This is Colonel Jack Kraut, long-term Petaluma resident. Sir.
Thanks, Leon, and thanks, Joe. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, but we were on an RV trip over in the Delta Bay area, and they were having a meeting this morning and going to have a lunch or dinner tonight. And I felt the best place to be was in Petaluma at the museum, where the veterans of World War II have pretty well disappeared, but the Korean veterans are still around. And I came in uniform this morning to make sure that you understood that the United States Air Force separated from the Army on the 17th of September 1947. And this is the blue uniform that I stepped into at that time. The Air Force was proud of the heritage with the Army Air Corps and what we had been flying. But where we were here in the States in 1950, we were standing alert, keeping you safe in your bed at night with P-61s out of Hamilton Field down there in Marin County that was just discussed. We, shortly after the start of the Korean War, we were re-equipped with the F-82. The F-82 was the frontline fighter on the East Coast, West Coast, in Alaska, and in Japan. And at the start of the Korean War, the F-82s in the 68th Fighter Group, all weather, was at Inozuki, Japan. We had just left there, my wife and I and one young son. The front line in Korea at that time, as far as the Air Force was concerned, was the 8th Fighter Group. They had been flying the P-38s. They had been transferred into the P-51s. And the F-82s were part of the 68th, and they were on alert. And they sent a flight to Busan. They were immediately scrambled because a Yak-9 was incoming to the perimeter. And a pair of F-82s took to the air. The first one got off, but the Yak-9 hit the second airplane. And it was a sad day for me. My former RO was in the right cockpit of that F-82G. The lead pilot came around and shot the Yak-9 down. So the Yak-9 was the first casualty of the North Koreans. And they also celebrated shortly, I'm sure, the shoot down of the first F-82 G model. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm glad to see all of you here. And I'll be around to talk to a number of old friends out there. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. One last quick point, we'll move the program on. On November 11th, mark this down, after the parade, at 4 o'clock, we'll have a historic symposium, one the likes of which the Smithsonian would be honored to have. And the Petaluma Museum has this wonderful opportunity to present these men to you. These are icons of the Korean War. Brigadier General Robert F. Earthquake Titus fought in 3 wars, 550 combat missions. Major General Norman DeBach flew F-86s. Colonel John Lowry flew in Korea, the 4th Fighter Interceptor Squadron, flew 105s, went up north, flew 100 missions up north in Southeast Asia. And Captain Jim Brooks shot down 13 German aircraft in the Mediterranean Theater, 15th Air Force, went with the 4th Fighter Interceptors Group when Korea broke out and served a tour there and then became a test pilot. So within those 4 gentlemen, you're going to hear what it was like going up north, going up there. And few people know what it was like to live and die at 40,000 feet. And you're going to hear it right from the guys who were there. And it was just as hard for them up there as it was for the chosen frozen. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to have this backdrop of guys that were in the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, all contributed to that effort to preserving freedom. So mark that on your calendars, Petaluma Veterans Memorial, November 11th, and thank you.
And as we conclude with Martha, let's give her a round of applause for the bagpipes. And I just want to thank everybody for coming. Please come in and see the exhibit, and thank you so much for your service.